Welcome to another episode of On the Capo Stand. I am your host David, and alongside myself we have John. John, how you doing?
Good, David. How are you?
Good, good, good. And our friend Ahmed. Ahmed,
Hey, David, welcome back, man. It's great
thank
to
you,
see you.
sir. Thank you, sir. And obviously, my absence last week was due to a very delicate situation. I had a intestinal infection. I had surgery. If you follow me on social media, I basically talk about everything that was happening. Thank you very much for the well wishes, the prayers, and the phone calls and the text messages. It's very good to know that good friends that I have cultivated over the years in our fan base were concerned about my well being. That's it. Tomorrow I go see the surgeon to see how everything's going, when my reversal surgery will take place, when I can go back to work, and all that good stuff. So thank you very much for that. I'll keep you posted on social media what's going on with me to those that care. Thank you very much for that, and thank you very much for the two gentlemen here, John and Ahmed, who held the fort last week. I watched the show, and it was very informative. With that said, I want to remind everybody that we're live on Twitch at On the Capo Stand, on X at On the Capo Stand, on YouTube at Davis Channel 76, on Instagram at On the Capo Stand, on Facebook Live on the Capo Stand podcast. If you want to be part of the show, just DM us in one of these platforms, and we'll happily send you a link so you can join us for a few minutes and say your piece, make your comments. Of course, you can comment live, and you can listen to us on whatever your podcast app of choice. I know that a lot of people not only watch us live, but they watch us later on in the week on YouTube, but also consume us on audio. So thank you very much for that. Before we move on, I think this is important. I would like to do an editorial of something that is happening with our fan base. One of the things that we have said in the show is a platform for the fans, and all opinions are welcome. It's okay to discuss as long as we keep respect with each other. This past week, I saw a tweet by a person that you guys know, who's very active on social media, who has a group of people, that follow their every move, and that person decided to hurl insults to those who, like myself, who thought that it was time for a managerial change. I'm going to tell you this. If you're Papi in, Papi out, it doesn't matter. The club already has made a decision. And we will know that decision in December. For what I hear, Oscar's time is going to be done at the end of the season. So it doesn't matter if we win or whatever. Things can change, obviously. But I'm just letting you know that. What I find offensive is when people use language they wouldn't use with each other in person, and when there's violent, deplorable, insulting behavior from adults towards one another. Those insults have been thrown at me unwarranted, because I have never used this platform to insult anybody or to incite violence like we have been falsely accused. And this time I'm not going to lose my cool. I'm not going to insult people, because that'll get us nowhere, because people will focus on the faux pas of myself rather than the abuse that we receive and the message that we want to convey. We want our club to win. Our club also wins in entertainment because we are consumers of the product and we pay for that. And I finish with this. We, as a corporate, as a group, our mission in On the Capo Stand, as just the name of it, right? When a capo stands, everybody gets their attention and the capo directs. That's what we want to be. So when you call in, when you comment, you are on the capo stand. You are letting people know your opinion. We can disagree with it. We can agree with it. We can start discussion because of it. The beauty of the podcast is an opportunity for fans to let their opinions out, to be entertained. And that's what we do. We are not here to insult players and staff. We're not here to incite violence. We're not here to use this podcast as a weapon. But one thing is clear: there's people on Twitter, a small minority that you can put in a minivan, that are very vocal and like to talk a lot of crap, write a lot of checks that their mouth can cash. And I keep telling everybody, I see them attacking me, attacking this podcast, and attacking others like myself on Twitter. Very, very, very tough. But in person, they pretend that you are not there. So with that said, guys, if you have anything to add, John, Ahmed, if you guys have anything to add to with this, we'll close this editorial.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I mean, David and I have said, multiple times early in the season, even on the show that we ended up canceling because of some things, that we hope we got proven wrong by saying that we felt Poppy should no longer be the manager of the team. And the results prove that. The results, in our opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinions, were, through 10 matches was not good. Through, a third of the season was not good enough for the money the team had spent, the hype the team had built up for itself. And, it's an opinion. And, kind of, the old adage, everyone has an opinion. Just opinions are like butts. Everyone has one, and yours stinks, So, I mean, and the fact of the matter is there's people in this world that don't respect other people's opinions but their own. They feel that if your opinion is different than theirs, then you're wrong. And then that the funniest part of it is that these individuals we're talking about feel the club doesn't owe the fans and the supporters anything, which is just absolutely laughable. And I mean, we're paying their bills. Sure, they have sponsors and all that stuff, but there's a reason why they put new concessions and have the local food vendors there, and have all the fireworks and the tailgating stuff and all of the Main Street that they're trying to build back up. It's for the fans. It's to get more fans out there, to get more people attached to going to matches so they can make more money. And they owe us, if we're making them money, they owe us to put a good product on the field. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, I came in late into the game, right? But that's the one thing about this show that appealed to me, right? It's like there's a bunch of shows out there, and sometimes you feel like they're not telling you everything, or they're not saying what you think. When I was listening to this show early on, you were saying what I was thinking, right? Not just hinting at it, just saying it. And I think that at this point in the season, if anybody's arguing that because of the way we're playing that things are different, they're sorely mistaken. Great, we're doing great. I don't think we could ask for anything more at this point, right? But it shouldn't have taken us this long, because the team didn't change. The players that we have, with the exception of the extra signings that we have, it's the same team we started with, right? So it should not take us however many games into the season we are to get to this point, right? We shouldn't have to doubt if we're on the right track or not. And that's exactly what it was. So just because we're playing well now, that's great. But you can't tell me why, right? And you can't tell me, let's be honest, that things won't take a nosedive. Not that I want to see that. I don't want to see that. But nobody could sit there and say to me, you know what? Watch this, and just take a total left turn. Would I want that? Absolutely not. But that's not the point. We're talking here about those different opinions, and all that any of us want, whether you're Poppy in, Poppy out, is the best for the team. And like you guys have always said, the players may come and go, the coaches may come and go, but the fans will be around. And that's what we're trying to do. It's like, I want the best for the team, regardless of who's on the pitch, regardless of who's at the bench, regardless of who's anywhere, right? And that's, I think, where it gets lost sometimes, because people, it's almost like you build a connection to the players and to the people, but they come and go, right? It's about the team, not those individuals. And I feel like sometimes that's hard for people to grasp. So I'll leave it at that.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for your opinions. Now you know where we stand. There's no murky waters. So if anybody tells you, oh, well, the guys from on the Capo stand say this, that, or the other, this is recorded for anybody to see where we stand, what we're all about. And the gentlemen that join me every night or every week, I should say, stand because they want to be here because they want to talk about Orlando City in a respectful manner, in a way that you will enjoy. That's it. Thank you very much for that, guys. I would like to go into some club news, and we have heard from the club that this week Wilfredo Rivera has been called up to Puerto Rico, Pedro Galese and Wilder Cartagena to Peru, and Facundo Torres to Uruguay. So those guys are already with their respective national teams, and we wish them the best. Very proud to say that throughout our history, we had several national team players representing their individual countries. That speaks of volumes to the quality of the players that we have. And also that in our academy, we have dozens of players that are representing their individual countries, and that's something to be very, very, very proud of. Guys, last week, you guys talked about this, but now it's official. Ercan Kara, unfortunately, has moved on. He has moved on to a club in Turkey, whose name escapes me right now because my phone decided to go to sleep. But what I heard, because I saw the video, Ercan is very happy with the decision. It was a win-win for the club and for the player. This happens to be Ercan's dad's childhood team, so imagine, it's. I mean, I know what that feels, right? And we want to wish him the best. He has left us with a lot of great goals. Unfortunately, the production wasn't there. There's a lot of reasons for that we could slice and dice all night. But the thing is that like they say, be happy. Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened. So we want to wish Ercan all the best. He should be becoming a new dad here in a few weeks. So we want to send all the blessings to him. All three of us are dads, so we know how important that is. And again, like Ahmed already hinted, players come and go, managers come and go, supporter remains. So we're here till the day we die. But unfortunately, the men who wear our colors, the men that manage, the men that are on the front office, eventually they move on. That's the nature of the business. Guys, if you would like to add anything to that.
Yeah, I mean, Carr is an amazing talent. It's just sad that he wasn't a fit for the system that Poppy hasn't, that Poppy runs with. Even with the change in form, he didn't seem to really fit. Didn't ever really seem to enjoy living here in the United States and here in Orlando specifically. Which is, it's unfortunate. He's a great talent. I'm sure he's going to go on to score an abundance of goals, and I wish him well.
Yeah, I agree, John. And I think we touched about this last time. It's just unfortunate that the chemistry wasn't there because, like I think I said last week, I feel like he had a better season, his first season with us, obviously, than his second one. Him and Facundo connected a lot better. I feel like him up front in general. So it's unfortunate, and just to kind of to the point that we were talking about, it's like we have these players and they leave and they go somewhere else and they're superstars, and you wonder, it's the chemistry. Those are the kinds of things we're talking about, right? When we say about the leadership of the team or the management of the team, those are the things that you are able to do, that you're able to manipulate as a leader, right? So
no, absolutely. So again, we wish him the best. That obviously frees an international spot and a designated spot. So we'll see what happens moving on. Let's read some comments here. One of you guys will do me the favor.
I got it. Vadim Azimov. OC changed when Wilder started to play with more confidence. Hope he's going to continue to improve.
Well, he's going to be missing next game with the red card. So there we go.
Mark Rodriguez. Greetings, John and Ahmed. Welcome back. David. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Really quick on the Wilder Cartagena thing.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
There was an interesting stat that showed, what Orlando City's like, time during a match, how many times they were, losing the match, percentage of time they were losing the match, how many percentage of time the match was drawn, and what percentage of time the match was the team was leading the matches. And the first 10 games was abysmal. We all know that. And in the last 17 have been, acceptable, not to me, absolutely outstanding. We're still not even winning the game 50% of the time. I think we're at like 46%. But it's interesting. Poppy changed and put Wilder in there in the double pivot with Cesar Araujo on game 9, which is a match that we ended up beating LA. And I believe Wilder was out with international team the next week, so they didn't do that. And we ended up drawing. But then, basically since that Columbus match in May, the teams went on and the double pivots worked with Cartagena and Araujo back there. And, the team looks like a completely different team, in my opinion, than what they did at the beginning of the year. It'll be interesting to see since Wilder got the red or the double yellow, whatever it was, in the last match. It'll be interesting to see how they do with, Araujo, and I'm going to guess it's probably going to be Urso at the other defensive midfielder role, because they may rescind it, may rescind the red card and change it to a yellow, but that's still 2 yellow cards in the match, and that equals a red, so he would still be out the next match.
He was just coming from suspension, so it will be interesting.
Yeah.
If this game, Cincinnati away, Charlotte away. Let me get it right.
Yeah.
It was a midweek game. Obviously, not a lot happened. We're just briefly gonna go over this. And I'm gonna ask Ahmed to go first, to remind everybody. Awful conditions. It was raining like crazy, very low attendance, which I don't blame them. It's difficult to go get wet in the middle of the week at the stadium. Artificial surface, very poor drainage. It was a game where I'm just happy that we walk away without injuries. Charlotte unfortunately cannot say the same. And the result was very predictable. There was a penalty conceded on the 81st minute that Copetti converted, and then after that, Ticho Ojeda, on the 80th minute, basically on a free kick from basically from his porch back in Orlando. The guy just takes a free kick, and he goes in, and we escape with a point. I went on then after dark with our friends from Orlando Lions then, and I said that what I felt was that this year we were basically dropping points against very mediocre teams like this. But then again, sandwiched between that game, you have defeating the best team in the West and the best team in the East. So it's a paradox. Orlando City is basically a Jekyll and Hyde club at times. Let's start with you, Ahmed. What you think of this game against Charlotte?
Charlotte, man. I mean, David, John and I talked about it the day before. I mean, the show before, and we were wondering what was going to happen with the lineup. And we were like, we have Charlotte, then we have Cincinnati, and we kind of had a feeling that the lineup was going to change up. So I think I had that feeling that we were going to kind of come out like that. I wasn't thrilled with how we came out. I feel like because it wasn't the normal lineup, we had the result that we did. Was I thrilled with how we played? I feel like we had a lot of missed opportunities in the beginning. The first half was a little bit messy for us again. We didn't really find our like groove until like the 40th minute. I feel like, you know what I mean? That's when we had like that kick from that shot from Enrique that was just like off the post.
Oh yes,
that was
wow. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Had that gone in, I think it would. I mean, it was still a good. I'm good. I'm happy with the outcome. not thrilled, but yeah, I think we played all right. That shot from
Martin Ojeda.
Martin Ojeda, thank you. That was amazing. Like how that did not make one of the shots of the weekend. I mean, I know how.
Because it
I know
wasn't
how.
massive.
But come on, man. I mean, I'm watching the replay of it, and it's just like he's almost halfway. It's
Yeah.
just like, and nobody touches it. The goalie gets a hand on it and kind of helps us along a little bit. But dude, it's just like, what can you say? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is, if you remember, I think it was in 2020. It was either 2020 or 2021. I think it was Chris Mueller scored a goal the same exact way. Not quite as far out, but it was a free kick put into a dangerous area and nobody touched it until the goalie got his fingertips on it, much like what happened Wednesday, and it went in the net. But yeah, I mean, kind of what I was fearing talking about the match last Monday night.
Yeah.
They were going to come out and try to preserve for Saturday. I didn't want it to be one of those matches where they kind of preserved and then had to push themselves just to keep it a draw, which I don't feel like they had to because it is Charlotte. Overall, it was kind of with the weather conditions and everything, playing on fake grass, like David said. I'm just happy none of the boys really got hurt. I think Janssen came up with a little bit of a knock after that, after the match, but he seemed fine on Saturday.
Great. So we leave Cincinnati with a point, hard earned, and you would have thought that heading out to Cincinnati, we were basically just gonna try to hold on for dear life, and that was not the case. And obviously, I'm gonna let John take point on this one because he was at the game.
Yes.
I still haven't experienced an away day, so I'm curious to see what he has to say about the whole experience.
John, I want to hear what your cousin had to say.
yeah, for sure. So the end result was a very simple one: 1-0 Orlando City. Facundo Torres in the 44th minute basically gets a tap in after Ramiro Enrique just basically pulls a Herculean effort to save a ball that, to be quite honest, anybody would have been okay just letting go for a goal kick. But he fought like an animal, gets the ball into a dangerous area in front of the box, and that's all she wrote. Facundo Torres buries that ball, and we leave with a very important point, defeating for the first time Cincinnati this season at their house. They only have one defeat, and that's us. So that, to me, that's great. Of course, I know purists are gonna be like, well, Miami defeated them at home, but this is league play. So with that, John, how was the experience going to FC Cincinnati?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It's the city I grew up around. My dad was trying to tell me how, if you never moved to Orlando, you'd be just as big of an FC Cincinnati fan. I said, maybe, but guess what? They weren't around while I lived here, so I moved to Orlando, and club just magically pops up when I moved to town, and it was meant to be. It was nice, it was, so since I moved from Cincinnati. It's been over 11 years already. 2012 is when I moved down here, and they've done a lot of changes to their downtown area since I left, for the good. The area that the stadium's in, and that the parking's in, and they have like a Main Street type thing, like what we have at the park, right near the stadium, it's called Washington Park. When I lived there, nobody, unless you were homeless, basically, didn't go to Washington Park or that part of town unless you were going to Music Hall, because it was not a very friendly part of town. And since then they've changed it, and there's bars all around, and people, and the stadium's right there and everything. And then the stadium, I didn't get to walk around much. Obviously, you guys know me. I'm at the match. I'm 100% invested in what's going on the pitch, and don't really have time to go use the bathroom, let alone walk around an entire stadium. Outside was beautiful. The inside, where we sat, we had very good seats right behind the goal, where Orlando City was defending in the first half and then attacking in the second half. So it was pretty cool. We got to watch the players warm up. They were all right there and walked off the pitch right next to us before and after, for the game, at halftime and after the game. The entrance there happens at midfield, like a lot of the newer stadiums over in Europe, versus how ours started in the one corner. But I mean, it was different than Exploria. I feel like it was more of a they tried to almost resemble like a stadium in Spain, if you will. That's what I thought of it. It kind of you felt like the stadium was kind of just cut into the ground, even though you were above ground level. No air circulation though. It was a kind of a warm day. It was close to 90 for a high for the day, and so we were sitting there. Felt like we were back in Orlando because there was no breeze blowing inside the stadium. But yeah, I mean, and as far as the match goes, we played kind of how you have to play against a team like Cincinnati, and Nashville is very similar. I brought it up last week. You have to let them dominate possession. As hard and as frustrating for fans as it might be, you have to let them dominate possession because they will kill you in the counterattack. And the team did that. We got our goal, and then there's essentially one guy that you can't let kill you on FC Cincinnati, Lucho Acosta.
Mm-hmm.
And Wilder and Cesar both bottled him up, and they played beautiful marking defense on him and didn't let him late in the game, especially late in the game, do anything to hurt us. It didn't really put anything threatening in. Everything that he touched was out wide, and every time he touched it, one of our guys was right there in his hip pocket to bottle him up. So it was a beautiful thing. I'm sure you guys saw how the Cincinnati fan pages were complaining about the style of soccer we played, and then I know you saw
went to win a game. That's all we know.
So we come out of Cincinnati, do something nobody else has done for all season. We stopped them from tying a record for most home points in 14 matches, which is a record that's been there. I think I heard it was since 2005 was when the record was set. So it's been there for a while. Stopped them from doing that, and unfortunately, because of the beginning, how bad we started the beginning of the season, the supporter shield's kind of theirs to lose now, because they're still 10 points ahead of everybody in the supporter shield with 9 games left, 8 games left, something like that. So that's kind of, but hey, we're tied on points in second place, which you can't complain about. And, it was a fun time. Didn't really see my cousins much, Ahmed. Honestly, I met with Nate's brother before the match. But they have kids and everything. So they're kind of, they're not, they don't have the availability that we have to. I mean, I do have a son, but they have a lot of kids, so they don't really have the availability to come hours before the match and hang out and do stuff after the match. So they're kind of show up an hour before, do the thing.
Just like me, just come in and leave.
It was a fun experience. It's awesome being an away fan in enemy territory, and being there for the boys and
take that W,
taking the win home, and it's a really good feeling.
Fantastic. I made impressions of the game.
I think these 2 games were wins that we needed for different reasons. The Charlotte one we needed to make up for the way we exited the U.S. Open Cup, which I think if you look back at it, was pretty much the same team that we played on our side. So back to my point earlier, but I won't dwell on that. Right. And then with this Cincinnati game, I mean, that was just we needed this. We needed this more than anything. And I think that's why Oscar changed that lineup for Charlotte, because he wanted to rest up the players for Cincinnati. I was worried again in the first half because we really did not come out. And I understand why. I kind of understand why, but we can't count on calls, right? We have to win and win big, I feel like. I'm not happy unless we win like by 2. I'm sorry. Because there's always that fear that at the end something is going to happen.
No, absolutely.
Minute, all you need is you go from 3 points to 1 point on a PK or something dumb. And
that has happened before.
All the time. So great game. Those shots were amazing that we had. But yeah, those fouls at the end were a joke, man.
No, absolutely.
I have the replays of them, but I'm tired of watching them.
We have a comment here if you guys don't mind reading.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Jim D, glad to see David and his colon back on the show. Let's hope this run of form continues despite the injuries and suspensions.
Thank you, Jim. And I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show. I have a second surgery coming up, and that's when I should be A-okay here in a few months. In the meantime, I'm just recuperating. So it's I'll be lying to you if I told you that I feel 1,000% or 100% at the very least. But I'm here, and that's what's important. Doing what I love, and hopefully soon at the stadium. We've got another comment. Let's see here.
William Aguilar just tuned in. So glad to see David so well and sound. Great week for Orlando.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, William. I appreciate it. And since you tune in, if you go back to the beginning, I give an update of what's going on with me. So feel free to revisit that once we're done. Guys, again, I think it's a fantastic point for our club. Right now, there's only one club that has managed to clinch playoffs in the whole league, and that's FC Cincinnati with an impressive 57 points. Traditionally, you get 50 points, you're guaranteed a date with the postseason. We're at 47, so we're a few points away from that. Right now, we're tied on points with New England, who sits second. We're third with 47. We're a point ahead of Philadelphia, which is has 46. And right now, the table in the East stands as follows. Cincinnati, 57 points in the first place. Second place, 47 points, New England Revolution. Third place, 47 points, Orlando. Fourth place, 46 points, Philadelphia. Fifth place, 45 points, Columbus Crew. Sixth place with 42 points, Atlanta United. Nashville, who's been taking a tumble with 40 points in the seventh place. On the wild card games area, we have Montreal with 35 points, DC with 33, and so far not making playoffs. If the season was to end today, they will be eliminated. Chicago with 32 points, Charlotte with 31 points, New York City, surprisingly, since they have basically made the postseason uninterrupted since 2016 with 30 points, New York Red Bulls with 29, Miami with 25, and Toronto with 22. So for Toronto, Miami, and Red Bulls, it's very, very it's a very steep mountain to climb in order to make playoffs. But we'll see what happens. As far as us as a club, we have 7 games left, 4 of them at home. And this week we're off because of international duty. Thank God for that. Some teams are going to be playing tomorrow and Saturday, just to let you know. But we have the week off, to recuperate and, rest our players. We're going to be returning Saturday, September 16th at 7:30 versus Columbus at home. It will be my first game in 2 months. So I'm happy about that. And I will be with my friend, Tom Lord, the legendary man from Bolton, England. After a 4-year absence, the guy returns to Exploria Stadium. Very excited to see my good friend, Orlando City supporter, Orlando City UK member, and trust me, we're gonna have a good time under the circumstances, right? Because I'm on limited light duty, even though my heart wants to go full throttle. So it's gonna be a fun night. Obviously, next Monday we'll be talking about the game that we're gonna be facing against Columbus. But it's interesting, guys. I'm gonna be quite honest. We're in a very good place. If the season was to end up today, we are guaranteed a spot in I want to call it CCL, but it's no longer CCL. It's CONCACAF. What is it? CONCACAF Cup?
Champions Cup.
Champions Cup. So it's CC.
Triple CP. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But guys, do you think it's important to go to the champions? I mean, I know that unfortunately our first foray we picked the worst team that we could have, and ended under an archaic rule, which hopefully will be revisited. But I mean, what are your expectations heading into next year? I think for us as a club, let's our brand be thrown out there into Latin America. And I'll finish with this because I know I've been going on the microphone for a while already. Our good friend Eddie Cruz from Orlando Lions then shared a video of a guy in Africa interviewing EPL fans, and he was wearing our away kit. So that to me that made me so excited because now with Apple Plus, our club is being known worldwide more and more. So I don't know. I just that made me feel very cool. That some guy in Africa felt the need to buy our kid. You know what I mean? Because obviously we're not we don't have the big names or anything like that. So let's start with you, John, on the importance. Our friend Vixen is going to be coming on here in a minute. Vixen, if you don't mind holding on while the guys talk about this, and then we'll let you on. So the importance of our entrance into CCL.
Yeah, I mean, it's more competition. It's competition early in the season against teams that are in mid-season form that should help the club progress a little faster throughout the season. Unfortunately with Tigres, the boys played outstanding against them both matches. Kara, I commented on Kara's Instagram goodbye post, how that bicycle kick against Tigres at home is going to live
in front of me, my friend.
Live in the history of Orlando City for as long as the club's here. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's exciting. You get a chance to, if the team gets on a good roll and, whoever wins the competition, and they may change it, but, but as much as they're changing competitions now, letting more and more teams in. I know the Club World Cup, I think, just changed or is changing who and how qualifications work. But as of right now, you win the Champions Cup, you're in the Club World Cup, which is a huge competition, watch worldwide. You go overseas, it's huge. It's almost more covered than the CONCACAF or than the UEFA Champions League, because the winner of that is the best club, and they are the world champions of club soccer. I know that's the thing going on social media right now is with world champions. So. But yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's a good opportunity for the club. The prize money is decent, and the marketing exposure to the international crowd is you can't replace it.
Ahmed?
Yeah, I mean, I think being in that competition would be huge for us. A lot of opportunity. It would force us to get our stuff in gear, really. I feel like that's what the competition did for us, and that's when we excel a lot, more so than in the real season. I mean, the regular season. I said the real season. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward towards that opportunity, and it'd be great for the team. I think we need those types of challenges. We need that type of exposure, and if we do, by some chance get into that Club World Cup, I mean, my Egyptian team has been in there, and they lost. I think they beat Seattle, and then they lost to Real Madrid or something. So it's crazy, man. I mean, it would be awesome. It would definitely be awesome. But my fear with like everything else that has happened for us, the form isn't there when we need it early on because it's
Mhm.
early on in the season.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, sorry, I don't want to beat that dead horse, but you know what I'm thinking. So prove me wrong.
That's it. That's all you can do. We're gonna let our friend Vixen here come on. Vixen, welcome. You're on the Capo stand, my friend. How you doing?
Nah, I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing?
Good, Vixen.
Good, man.
Great, doing great. All right, what you want to talk about, my friend?
Uh, first thing, I got a list here. I can only be on for like maximum like 8 minutes because I gotta like catch a movie. So,
I'm sorry that I let I put you on hold there for that
oh
long.
no, you're good. And I'm talking about the FC Cincinnati game. Well, let's go to Charlotte first. Fun fact: the reason why it was raining in that Charlotte match was because of the hurricane that went through here. So if you guys didn't know that, that's why it was empty, and that's why it was gusty rain from the Caribbean Sea, just lurking over there. So that's why it was raining, and it was Tropical Storm Idalia when it was just south of Charlotte, and but talking about the FC Cincinnati game in the first half, I believe we were struggling a bit, but Ramiro was a good replacement for Duncan McGuire, in my opinion. Is Duncan McGuire okay? What's the word on him?
As far as we know, he's just recuperating.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. We could still use him. Whatchamacallit? I'm sad that he wasn't on the roster for the U.S. men's national team call ups,
Yeah.
but. Well, he hasn't scored in a while. He hasn't scored ever since the away game in Atlanta that me and my friends went to, and he hasn't scored since then. So, I mean, I understand Greg Berhalter not calling him up because, like, why would you call somebody up that's not scoring goals? So, but whatchamacallit? Yeah, I'm happy to get that victory away. It was a phenomenal. It was a very interesting game going back and forth, and I tried to look for John on TV, and I just couldn't see you, John.
Yeah, we weren't sitting with the supporters. We were behind the south end goal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like about halfway up. So there were great seats, but yeah, they did the supporters, the away supporters weird there. I mean, literally what you saw on TV was their away supporters section, which is not up to MLS code, but
well, I'm surprised they showed it. I'm surprised Apple TV and like the camera people showed the away fans because they never do like for Orlando City games. They don't show the away fans whenever Orlando City scores because when I went to Atlanta, they didn't show the Orlando City fans at all. And they didn't show them again for the game after that.
I think it's important that you show the away fans. I definitely, because this is the thing. Here in the United States, we have discussed this before. Away support is very difficult and it's very costly. Like when I watch my team Stevenage or Maccabi Haifa, they have huge away sections. That usually at the very least there's like 50, 60, 70 people supporting the away team, and at max I've seen thousands of people in the case of Israel, because Israel north to south is like from Jacksonville to Miami, and east to west is at its thinnest point is 9 miles. So going away to away games in Israel is not a big thing. It's and the same in England. You can take the train, you can drive. So usually when you see very low attendance for away games is during the week on Tuesdays games. But again, I think we have to encourage people to go on away games, and the way you do that is by showing that away support. I think it's critical that we do that. Victor, before we let you go, my friend, because we're trying to wrap it up here under an hour, what's your expectations as for the Champions League, since obviously at this point, if the season was to end today, we'll be securing a spot on that tournament. Obviously last year, as we discussed, we got a awful draw, getting probably one of the best, if not the best team in the tournament, and then being eliminated under the away goal rule, which in my opinion is completely unfair and arbitrary. So what are your expectations for 2024?
I hope the away goal rule is taken away.
Thank
in
you.
2024. I mean, they don't use it in La Copa Libertadores, Copa Sudamericana.
Nowhere in the world.
Nobody else. The Asian
Else.
C Cup, any. I hope that. I think this was like what happened this year. Our first time attending the CONCACAF Champions League was a little like test, like like what it's like to play in another country, and like we have a Swedish individual and Brazilian. We have a lot of like a variety in our lineup. So like it's interesting to see like how they play in another type of environment. So I think I think that was a good test. Like if we still stick with the same type of team for next season, then it'll be interesting for that for those games.
Fantastic.
Hopefully we get more people to come to the games for those for like just an increase in attendance in general would be
fantastic. No, absolutely, and hopefully you will join us next Monday, so you can let us know how Wilder and Pedro did with Peru in the World Cup qualifiers that just started for United 2026. So thank you, Victor. I appreciate it, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Very much. We always appreciate your time. And I want to remind everybody that just like Vixen, you can join us by just basically requesting a link. You can DM us and all that good stuff. I have some comments here, guys.
Yep. William Aguilar, Duncan McGuire is slowly becoming the next Kara.
Man, this next one.
We can't get rid of his spirit.
You guys want to talk about that? I don't feel that. I just think that goal scorers they go through the spells. They scoring, and then they go dry, and that's the importance of having supporting players on the bench that can come and score. If you guys have noticed, most of our goals this year have been by defenders, by guys that quote unquote are not supposed to score, and that to me those are great contributions. It'll be interesting if Duncan is not ready for the game against Columbus, and we have to roll the dice with other players. I believe Duncan got hurt in Charlotte, guys. Is that correct, or was it Cincinnati?
It was in Cincinnati. What about
It was like the 20th minute.
Yeah, early. There was him and Miazga went up for a
50-50 ball. He got hurt.
Yeah, and then he went down. I couldn't tell from where I was sitting if he hurt it when he landed or if it was on the impact in the air. But I know when he went off, it didn't look good. Hopefully it was just what they call in American football a stinger.
Yeah.
But it could be somebody that's hurt one of their shoulders before. It can be a long process to come back from a. If it's
absolutely, and
like that.
This is a moment for, and I would like to hear your opinion on this. This is a moment for Jack Lynn to come and step up. This is the moment for him to say, "Hey, I'm more than just a OCB player," and this is my moment to shine. And I always use this as an example. I don't know if you guys remember in the early 2000s. That Tiki Barber Buick commercial where he says that he got his chance in high school. The starting player got hurt and they had nobody else, and they're like, okay, well, Tiki, you go out there, and the guy stole the show, became the starter. Went on to college to the University of Virginia, and then after that got drafted to the New York Giants, and arguably You can say that his brother had a better career in Tampa, reaching this year the Hall of Fame and all that. But that's a story for another day. But it's just opportunities, moments in time where the extraordinary moments call for ordinary men to step up, and that's the opportunity for Jacqueline. Do you guys think that Jacqueline makes that leap? Because in my opinion, if Jacqueline cannot be at bare minimum a sub in MLS, then it's time to move on from him.
I agree.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Go ahead, John. No, go ahead. You're fine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Jacqueline should be the second option to replace McGuire right now, because Ramiro has put his time in as a sub this year so far. But I think the first inkling that Ramiro it's not his game, whether it's the 25th minute or the 50th minute. I think Jacqueline should then get within reason get subbed on to be given the opportunity. But I'd like to see him get more opportunities. I'd like to see him start a couple games. And if he's not good enough to be a second, a sub in the MLS, yeah, absolutely, it's time to move on, because the reserve team is to hone and prepare and get the younger players used to being a professional soccer player. And if he's not up to it, then it's time to move on and find somebody else.
I think you guys hit it right on the head, and I think he's shown his ability. At the St. Louis when they brought him in, he changed the game. I mean, there was some. I mean, it was great. There's nothing else to say, and that's really what you need from somebody at that point. When they come in at that point of the game, they can change the game. Where it's a new person. It's a new person, and that's it. You can't underestimate the value of something like that. So I feel I'm 100% in agreement with you guys on that.
I agree on that, my friend.
And to touch on what you said, Ahmed, he changed the game and it wasn't even on the offensive end.
Exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, like we had said, also that's also because he's being part of the B team. He's still playing, so it's not like he's not part of. You know what I mean? So he's still going. So exactly. I think that works to his advantage. Where if he came on and he was sitting on the bench waiting to come on, you may not see him play that same way.
We have some comments.
Sure, I'll take it. William Aguilar, on the other hand, Ramiro did improve. I'm not talking about his assist, but even the game against St. Louis, he showed he is hungry for victory. Yeah, you can't argue that, really. Vixen said Orlando City has been undefeated ever since John, William, and I went to the away game in downtown Atlanta. Crazy. Yeah. Absolutely. And William Aguilar, Jacqueline should have played that Charlotte game as a starter. I don't know why he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's an enigma. I think I have seen, John and I have this year taken a strong interest on OCB. He comes on. I think he dominates. But I have to be quite honest with you guys, and I have said this before. I'm a little disappointed at the quality that we're seeing. And MLS Next, I think, is very subpar. I think those players probably will benefit more if they were playing in a system like USL Championship, to be quite honest with you. But again, Jacqueline has to prove to us that he belongs in the first team. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I think he's a fantastic young man, very talented. Obviously, he can do things that I can't. So it's very easy for me to sit here, all middle-aged, fat. I get winded just going to check my mail. So to say that, but the fact of the matter is, he's a professional footballer, and we should expect the best, because we want to win. We want to win. And my opinion is if a player has been at OCB for a while and the development is linear, it's not getting any better, this guy's never going to be an MLS player, then it's time to allow somebody to take that spot and be prosperous. Guys, we're going to be taking this week off. Next week, we're going to be coming back to talk about our return to the hostilities when Columbus comes to town. Um, Anything you guys have to add about either club news, our position on the table, I mean, let's be honest. We have a agent percolating there on the 14th position with Miami that basically is going to be a threat. It's changing the way the league is played. Um, Anything else to add before we say goodbye?
Yeah, I mean, I just the DP spot that opened up with Kara moving. I know we can't do anything until the December transfer window,
Mm-hmm.
but just wondering what you guys think. If let's say it's December now, everything's the same as it is today. With the club, coaching, all of that. What position would you sign for that DP spot?
Go ahead, Ahmed, because I spoke enough tonight.
Man, it's tough. It's tough because I mean, if you look at it, also, I think we were talking about this last week. There's a lot of players whose contracts are up, right? And there's a lot of positions that we have veteran players that you don't know. Like we have a couple of center back positions that it's like who's going to be around when comes the time. So, and that's a key position for us because our defense is our defense. So I would like to see something there. I mean, I know it's DP, but I don't know. That there's just so many possibilities.
Yeah.
We got a comment here.
Yeah, William, we still need a solid RB as DP. If we still had Moutinho, we would be undefeated.
Well, the thing with Moutinho is originally he was injury prone. That's why LAFC moved away from him. A fantastic player. I haven't kept up with what he's been up to since he went to Italy. But the player wanted to move on, and that's one of the things that sometimes people need to understand that in the player's lifestyle or perhaps family situation, sometimes they want to move on. As great as Orlando is of a city to be in and all that, it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's just a reality. We have to accept it like that. And for some people, it's just a stepping stone. It's just what it is. They're here for a seasonal time, and then they move on. While we have some players that after retirement they have stayed, and I'm surprised about the amount of former players that are still living in the area. To be honest with you, if I could count over my head, it's over 20. If we count some of the USL guys. It's over 20 players that have decided to stay in the area. That's a testimony to the organization, to our community, to us, as fans, as people in this community, where people feel like, hey, my time playing football is over, but I want to stick around. So that to me, that's great. William has a question here or a comment.
William Aguilar, you guys haven't touched the topic of Junior Urso.
Well, real quick, Junior has a contract till December with an option. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't think we're exercising that option. Junior returned to us not being the same player that he was when he was here. He's already 34 years old. I wouldn't want to roll the dice on a player that I really like. In my interactions with Junior have always been super positive. He's the cousin that I wish I had, basically. He's so nice, him and his family. But the fact of the matter is that if we are thirsty for championships and for winning, we have to go younger. And unfortunately, I don't think Junior's gonna get us there. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Sorry. I didn't. I wasn't a fan of signing him on in July. I love him as a player. I think he's an amazing human being. He's a good guy to have around a club. I would have preferred to see him more of as a staffer on the coaching staff than a player. And since he's been back, he hasn't looked like the player he was even a year ago. Definitely looks like he's lost a step. And honestly kind of just looks out of form, pretty rusty and everything. But real quick, cool story about him from Saturday. We were sitting pretty close to the field, like I said, and the boys were walking off the pitch before the match after warm-ups were done. And so, I was showing my little guy, had him standing on my lap and showing him, and he's sitting there waving. And Junior looks up and points right at my little guy and waves at him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
Like
was-
I
that was
said,
pretty
man,
cool.
it's difficult for me to reach that what I just said.
Yeah.
This Junior, I mean, he's just a great guy. Ahmed, anything to add to that?
The whole thing about the chemistry for me, you have a whole bunch of players. Some of them he played with, some of them he hadn't. So you don't know how that's going to work. And that's the last thing you want, is for somebody to leave on such a high note, come back and things not work out the same way. It's almost like,
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody was happy to see him go. And I think everybody's happy that he's back, but I don't know that it's the same. Like he left at the high after the cup, the Open Cup and all of that. So it was like on a high note. And I feel like now his performance being not the same, it's not the same. Right. So I just hope the rest of the season goes well for him. And
No, absolutely. Like I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. At the end of the season, like I hinted, there's gonna be a lot of players, over close to a dozen players whose contracts are up for renewal or contracts are over. If we do make the decision of switching managers, obviously it's a blank canvas for somebody coming in. And at this point, like I said, the dynamic that we see in Miami, the dynamic that we see in FC Cincinnati, LAFC, and all these clubs is to either go very veteran, very talented, or very young and talented. And I think we have a lot of players that the quality of the league has gone above and beyond their skill set. And, if you want to keep them because you follow them on social media and they're nice guys, well, what you're gonna get is a middle of the table team that it's going to be mediocre at best, that is gonna get to the playoffs, get eliminated on the first round, that is gonna go onto cup games, and it's not gonna win the cup. And I think as a fan base, it's time for us to understand that winning is what we're all about. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you. With my overseas teams, players come and go all the time. Since I started following Stevenage, I've probably seen, I don't know, over 100 players go through that club. And right now, it's looking like championship league next year for Stevenage. And how you get there? Well, you get there by signing the best players. They let a guy go. They let a guy go that grew up 4 blocks away from the stadium. And I really like that player. He scored some nasty goals. He was a super nice guy. I still follow him on social media. But he wasn't a League One quality player. I had to let him go because, again, the needs of the club supersede the needs of the players. And that's why we need to understand here. In Orlando, Maccabi Haifa made a managerial change because the manager got so successful that he went to coach in Serbia, have a new guy. The new guy is not as good, but it still wins games. You know what I mean? And just that's the reality because football is cyclical, my friends. That's what it is. We have some last comments here, last words from the guys, and then that way we can wrap it up.
All right. William Aguilar, did they get Tite for OC, or was that just a fake rumor?
I'm gonna say this. It's a solid one. It's nothing. It's concrete. But all the signs look that if we're going to make a change in December, Tite is going to be the guy. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I have said it here. I spoke with somebody entrenched into the club. I'm not going to say much because somebody ratted out my old sources. Some of them were disciplined and some were told not to talk to me anymore. And that was it was ratted out by a podcaster who I trusted. And you know who you are, and what you did is just messed up because you don't mess up with people's livelihood. But that's a story for another day. But that's what we know so far, William. And here we go. Last comment.
John Ames, how's it going, guys? Excited for the win against teams who are on top. Do you guys believe we have a chance at the Supporter Shield? Thank you.
Oh no, that's to me. It's I don't know. Let's start with that. John, do you think we have a chance for the Supporter Shield?
Realistically, no.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Nope.
Yeah, it's a no from me.
Yeah, I mean it's a good pipe dream because it's 10 points, but we have what 7, 8, 9 matches, something like that left.
With 7 games, we have 7 games left for them at home.
7 matches left. Cincinnati's lost 4 matches all year. They would have to lose. I did the math last night.
50% of their games.
They would have to lose like 5 of the 7, basically, and we would have to win 5 of the 7. And I still think we would come up a point short.
Yeah, for sure. So unfortunately, it's not gonna happen this year. But you never know. You start hot, right?
John Names. Yeah, no, LOL. I had that dream.
Yeah, I know, my friend. As of right now, the attainable goals of Orlando City should be in the CONCACAF Champions next year by finishing at top of the table, and challenging for MLS Cup by making the playoffs. So that's basically
some good news with the owners too. Is they're with the NFL team, the Vikings that they have. It looks like they're opening up the pocketbook, which for the NFL team has been uncharacteristic for them. But it looks like they're opening up their pocketbook to sign one of their players to a really big extension. Is the rumors that I saw online, which can only mean that if there's a player here that they feel like they can't let go, they'd probably be willing to do the same. Because I think it was Justin Jefferson, maybe. That was the player that was that I saw that they were trying to sign to the Vikings are in talks with to sign for an extension. So I would almost equate him to a Facundo Torres type player that they feel like obviously it's completely different markets, but it's positive to see that the owners are willing to loosen up the cobwebs a little bit and let a couple dollar bills out to secure the players that are quality players.
No, absolutely. All right, my friends, I would like to remind everybody that you can watch us live on Twitch at On the Capo Stand, on X at On the Capo Stand, on YouTube at Davis Channel 76. We're on Instagram at On the Capo Stand, and you can also watch us live on Facebook at On the Capo Stand Podcast. We would like to thank everybody that was there, that was live listening to us, watching us. To everybody that's going to listen to us on audio form during the week, and everybody that's going to revisit this recording throughout the week. Thank you very much. Again, we don't do it for the views. We don't do it for the money. We don't do it for the women because we're all married. But we do it because we just want to be a platform for the fans to discuss. And once again, if you want to be with us, just like Vixen did tonight, you can just go ahead and just DM us in any of the platforms. We'll send you the link, and you can join us. And again, we're not gonna, even if you have a different opinion, we're gonna treat you with respect and a lot of care, and we just want you to have a platform for your opinion. John, any last words?
Not really. Just my social, my Twitter or X is at thatboyjrdub. Follow me. Keep up with our socials. All of us are on taking care of all of our socials now. It's a joint effort, except for X. We still won't let David on there just in case.
All right, Amanda, any words?
Yeah, man. So I at Ahmed Salim 13, Ahmed Salim 1376, or just Ahmed Salim. Thank you guys for listening. Just reach out on social media. Let me know what you all think. And
all right, my friend.
Real quick, I do want to shout out Ahmed for the amazing graphic that he made for the announcement.
Oh yes, for sure. Thank you, my friend.
More to come, man.
Yeah.
No,
That was
absolutely. Again, this is just it's a group effort, a labor of love, and I'm privileged to have these two gentlemen who have a skill set, a creative skill set that I don't possess. So thank you very much for that. I can be found on Twitter at King David 407. And again, thank you very much to everybody that joined us tonight. Next week we'll be talking about the upcoming game. Enjoy the rest. I know I hate when there's no Orlando City games, but the beauty is I take refuge in my overseas teams once that happens. So just want to, again, thank you very much. Hopefully our boys will be returning home to give us a win. And I'm stalling here because I'm trying to find. Oh, there it is. There's our outro. I couldn't find it. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll say goodbye to you as we always do by reminding you that football is the sport for those that don't mind having their mouth smashed and their hearts broken. Football is played on grass, not on paper. From John, Ahmed, and myself, may God bless you, and as always, Vamos Orlando!